Good morning and welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. I'm coming to you from Finkel on the west side. I'm coming to you from Lake Ridge Ministries. There's so many rundown businesses on this section of Finkel. I look out back, and that's Cooley High School.
That's Cooley High School.
That's Cooley High School out back. Now, we hear about the Cody rebuilding and all that, but that thing's just sitting there. And this church, Lake Ridge Ministries, is sitting here like a beacon. Why?
Well, you know, my bishop, John Henry Sheard, saw a need for this community. And he called me up because we're in the UOD area doing transitional housing there. It's funded through Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority. And knowing the work that we do there for persons who are underserved, deprived, we have case managers there and clinicians there as well. And so our church was there. And Bishop saw a need for this community for some rebirth. What we do here is not only do we introduce men and women to Christ, but what we do also is we have a shelter here for women who are homeless. We have a refuge for the women that might be trying to make income late at night. And so we have refuge here for them.
You're not talking about midnight shift at McDonald's.
No, I'm not talking about the midnight shift at McDonald's.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about prostitution.
There's a lot of prostitution
There's
through
a
here?
lot of prostitution running up and down Finkel because of Grand River being maybe an avenue of escape for the men that come in from the suburbs and try to use the services of the prostitutes.
So that still goes on?
Yeah, it still goes on. We have Forgotten Harvest that we have collaborated that comes here, and we feed the community, and they come from all over to get food. So, you know, and so the people are sick because of the fact that they don't have any hope. They're sick because they don't see any referrals or place they can get referrals from. Sure, they can call up somewhere and stand in line, but locally, what do they have? You know, what you see downtown and what you see in the affluent areas across 7 Mile and some of these small segments, you know, but when you talk about south of Finkel or south of Puritan, you know, you have people who are sitting next to abandoned homes. You have crime that is just off the chart. And pastors in our congregations, we hear the families talking about those things. So we created a shelter in our church because the facility is large enough.
There's a shelter here?
There's a shelter, women's shelter here, where we have women with children that come in and stay here for 30 days or better until we can find them somewhere.
You talked about returning citizens. Lake Ridge Plaza.
Village.
Lake Ridge Village on Finkel.
On Puritan and
Fairfield Street. You're bringing returning citizens back in, you're putting them to work. Tell me about that.
Well, we thank God for Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority, which has collaborated with us, and we take on their persons coming from treatment. We thank God for the Sheriff Department, Billy Napoleon, has entered into a contract with Detroit Wayne Mental Health. But before then, we had an agreement with him to take persons coming out of the Dickerson facility on tethers and come to our agency for transitional housing and supportive services, which includes referrals for job training and those kind of things, and could temporarily and look for permanent housing through our agency. We have housing in the area. We have taken a 3-square block, Fairfield, Maryland, and Belden. And we have, through the land bank, we're able to get about 12 homes that we're refurbishing.
It seems that Detroit is morally bankrupt. Pastor Eddie, how do we undo the bankruptcy?
Well, you know, first of all, I'd say God is the answer. But how do we get men and women to come to Christ? Our churches have to go outside the walls. It's a tough job, but somebody got to do it, and you just can't do it for a month. you won't see results for 2 or 3 years because you got to invest yourself into a community, and they have to have a face to that problem, to that community problem, a face.
Pastor Eddie, we got to wrap it up. I want you to tell people where to donate to Lake Ridge Village.
Okay?
All right. Where is that again?
That's at Pastor E. Williams 53 at gmail.com.